Welcome to another episode. Fade to Duce, episode 11, week 10. Back again. Still the Duce. Look at that, 36 and 23. That's still amazing. Up 16 units, even after a 500 week last week, Kevin. Still a lot to be proud of. And Matt had a good week as well, 4-2.
The one thing, Matt hit his lock and I didn't, so it was a good week for Matt. Good bounce back for him. So,
yeah, Matt is unable to join us tonight. He had to catch a late flight for his career, his job. He's doing some traveling, so he sent his picks in, and I'll be reading those. As we talked about a little bit offline, Kev, not a lot of really sexy games this week, right?
From the Illinois fan perspective, it's one of those things. If a couple things could have broke our way, this actually could have been the game day game. You've got Ohio State, Penn State. Obviously, has got a lot of allure to it. But I think that you've seen what game day's been doing this year. They went to Cal, they went to Indiana. They're trying to go to places they haven't been before. It was just Penn State loses to Wisconsin. Illinois would have had to steal one somewhere from Wisconsin, from Oregon or Penn State. Maybe Minnesota if they'd have beat Michigan. Who knows? But something just one or two breaks our way there. It could have been a different story. But yeah, it's not a good week. I think there's two ranked matchups. So Matt and I got together and tried to find the 5 best games, and we'll put them out there. There's some out there we're not going to take this week, but could be. But we tried to do it ones with some lower spreads, some teams that have been ranked, and hey, maybe it'll be a better week for Matt. Maybe it'll be a better week for me. Who knows?
Exactly. I think I'll be shocked if you go 500 again. Go ahead this week. So let's start out for Illinois fans. Obviously can't make your picks on them in the state of Illinois, but Illinois hosting Minnesota, number 24 Illinois, hosting 5-3 Minnesota, who've won 3 straight games. And that apparently was enough for the oddsmen and odds makers to say, hey, Illinois barely beat Purdue. They beat a mediocre Michigan team by 14, and you get stomped in Oregon, and basically saying like, hey, we don't think you're going to be the favorite at home. It's just weird to see that as a ranked team, to see you not favored.
You said it on the show last night. I think there's some sharps. I think there's some folks in Vegas that are seeing this is that Oregon will beat Illinois twice in essence. Now, Illinois is banged up. We know this. I think Illinois is banged up at positions that they can, for the like you and I were talking offline. It's if it was Luke Altmaier, you could see the line moving that much. With the guys that we know are out right now, I don't see the line moving that much. I really think it's that they believe that Minnesota's the hot team right now. And like I said, the efficiency metrics do not love Illinois. Robert Rosenthal on a Illini board does a nerds thing every week where he compiles everybody's, the FPIs and the S&Cs and puts all this stuff together. And Illinois is like 13th or 14th in the Big Ten on that. And so a lot of folks don't ever necessarily watch the games who are on the sharp side, the people who set the lines and the people who make initial bets. They're looking at efficiency metrics. Those don't favor Illinois. That being said, I put it out there last night. I think Illinois wins, and then obviously they cover. I'm going to take Illinois 23-21. I think Illinois is able to slow their run game down enough. Minnesota's struggled to run the ball a little bit lately. Surprisingly, even though they got Taylor, who's a really good running back, Illinois has found a way to run the ball effectively against better defenses than Minnesota. And I think those being Michigan, Oregon, Nebraska, Illinois ran the ball somewhat against Penn State. I think Illinois will be able to run the ball this game. I think they'll be able to keep their defense off the field, keep them fresh in a low-scoring game. I like Illinois' special teams a lot better than Minnesota. And in a game where field position is going to be so critical, give me Illini plus the 3, and a 23-21 win for the Illini.
Yep. I'm not picking this, but I think special teams is going to be huge in this. So I'm glad you brought that up.
We'll play a little short-handed tonight, but Mr. Matty McCumber sent us some picks. And as always, Matt has some analysis for us. So
yeah, and so tonight I'll be reading the words from Mr. Matt McCumber. He has Illinois as well, +3. He's using a half unit, Kev. Did you mention your unit for this?
I'm going a half as well on this one.
Okay, so a half unit here. Minnesota comes in as one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten. Illinois dealing with a banged-up squad plus a rather disappointing road performance at Oregon. Stakes are high here. He thinks Illinois will lock back in, though, and they will. He's taking Illinois and the points here for many of the reasons you are. So I think we're in agreement with that. There's just something about Illinois, too, that metric-wise, like you got to take into consideration how wild and crazy Purdue went in that second half and the Michigan fourth quarter. There's just a lot of things there that really have skewed some of that stuff. So, and the fact that Illinois played a really bad game against Oregon,
Yeah.
So those little things, I think that would be one bad quarter against Purdue and a bad game against one bad half against Purdue, a bad quarter against Michigan, which really wasn't bad. Just bad metrics wise, like they actually played pretty good in the fourth quarter defensively, and then a bad game. So Illinois, Matt and Kevin both have Illinois winning and covering here. So taking the points. Ohio State, we're going to go Ohio State at Penn State here, which obviously the game of the week. Every week they play each other. These last 5, 6, 7 years have been really, really big games since James Franklin's taken over. Well, actually the last 10 years per se. But Ohio State's a 3.5-point favorite in Happy Valley. We'll start with Matt here. Matt has Ohio State 3.5 for one unit. He's taking a whole unit here, Kev. Looking at James Franklin's record versus top 10 teams, it's not good. It's 3-17 at Penn State and 1-9 against the Buckeyes. Plus, you will have Will Howard coming back close to home versus a program that didn't recruit him. He's taking the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way here. I don't like that. I like the fact that I get the home team and some points here. Now, granted, Ohio State has fared well there. They've made some very key plays. There was the JTT game a couple of years ago where he had a interception, touchdown, a fumble, strip sack fumble. There was a block kick a few years ago. But here's the thing. Ohio State is really banged up on the offensive line. They lost their starting left tackle. They only managed 285 yards of offense against Nebraska in Columbus last week. If you go look deeper, Nebraska dominated the game, 18 first downs to 11 for Ohio State. They had the ball for 35 minutes. They rushed the ball more effectively, same number of carries, twice as many yards. Ohio State really had to rely on the passing game, but they only completed 13 passes. And part of that is, like I said, because Nebraska was getting so much pressure on the quarterback. Now, there were only 2 sacks in that game, but you could see that Ohio State clearly was missing their star left tackle. I believe he's out for the season. With that being said, I think Abdul Carter eats in this game. I think we saw it pretty much back to back as Illinois fans that Penn State's defensive line is better than Nebraska's. I think if Nebraska is able to control the ball and run the ball well enough on you, I think that Penn State will be able to. I think Penn State also has got something that Ohio State needs to prepare for, in the fact that they don't know if they're going to get Aller or Prabula. And Prabula, unlike Aller, is really pretty mobile and can run. So that's going to cause some complexities in this game. I was hoping the over-under would be closer to 50. It's right in the middle of the 40s at 45. I was going to lean towards the under here. But I think this is a game. I got more than a field goal here. Give me the Nittany Lions. I think this one is like a 21-20 game at most. Could go either way.
So you don't really have a pick on the money line or who you think is going to win.
No, I like the fact I'm getting them more in the field goal for the Nittany Lions there. So
okay,
I think it might come down to the kicking game. I haven't really looked into the kicking game, who's better there. But I think this is a 23-21, like similar score to Illinois, or 21-20. I lean towards the under here a little bit because I think Ohio State's better unit right now is their defense, and their offense is struggling. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun game to watch. Obviously, going to have to watch it on replay because that's an 11 a.m. kick like Illinois.
True. Next game, Clemson at Louisville. 10.5-point favorite for Clemson. To me, them and Miami look destined to probably play in the ACC title game, even
They
though
don't play each other in the regular season either. So
yeah. So no, even though SMU, who by the way, oh my god, I would love to see the metrics. Pull up the deserve to win metrics for SMU versus Duke last week. I'd love to see that Kev, if you can find it, of the probability of SMU winning that game after throwing 6 picks or whatever it was, 6 turnovers, and they had 6 turnovers against Duke, and Duke could not convert enough of them into points, and they ended up winning because Duke went for 2 in overtime, just like Purdue did with Illinois, and gifted them the win. So while he's looking that up, SMU and Pitt both still undefeated. So there's some other close games and challengers to those two. But yeah, so as Kevin's looking on to that,
I can't really find it.
But it's nuts. But anytime you turn the ball over 6 times, Kevin, and win. At the end of the game, Rhett Lashley, while he was relieved, he was like almost embarrassed accepting the game-winning coach interview afterwards. Like you can tell when a coach is just hamming it up or trying to look humble. He was not happy. Like he literally said, "We did not deserve to win the game," and he goes, "The dear Lord blessed us today," because he goes, "We were ugly." UGLY. We didn't have an alibi. And he's like, and Duke just like let him have it. Like you got to kick the extra point there, especially when you turn a team over 6 times. There's a great chance you can turn them over in the second overtime. But it's like, nope, we're going for it right now. And then SMU stopped them, and that's it. So go with you, Kev. Clemson, Louisville. Clemson 10.5-point favorite. Louisville's to me fool's gold. Boston College let them off the hook last week. They were down by 17 in Chestnut, whatever it is in Boston College, whatever they call it. Chestnut
Hill.
Yeah, Chestnut Hill, Happy Valley, College Park, all these places. What do you got here?
I love Clemson in this game. I think they're legit. I think this is a real pro. They've figured things out. I think Cade Klubnik's one of the best players in the country right now, best quarterbacks, really performing at a high level. I think they're coming off a bye week. I am not buying into Louisville at all. I just don't really see it with them. I think that Clemson's kind of on a mission here. I get the better quarterback. I get the better coach. I get the home team here. 10.5. I see Clemson winning this game easily by 2 touchdowns. I'm going a full unit here. I'm going to hammer this one. I'm going a half unit on the last one, on the first 2, and a full unit here. Give me the Tigers minus the 10.5. I think they cover with ease.
Did you go full unit?
Yeah, on this one, yes.
Yeah, so Matt is following in your footsteps. He's so positive with Clemson here. Full unit, Clemson, 10.5. They're covering that. Sitting at 6-1, a legit shot at the college football playoff after being left for dead. After getting blown out versus UGA, 6 straight wins and have been absolutely dragging teams, averaging 49 points a game over their last 6 games. This is more of a Clemson play than a Louisville trust factor.
Yep.
Just think Clemson is on a mission and coming off a bye week.
Yeah, and to add into this, Dabo caught a lot of flack early in the season for, not working the portal, being the Tom Izzo on the football side of the portal, if you will. And what's come to find out is, he's kept the players around, and that's working out well for him. I think Clemson's on a mission. I'm Matt and I are in agreement here. So
we'll go to the next one here, which, by the way, I have to, and I can't help it. Absolute bullshit that this is the NBC primetime game of the week. I have to say it, dude. I don't need to be biased because it's just dog shit. It's dog shit television. No, as much as that's a great rivalry in those 2 states. Last time I checked, when they're not ranked and relevant, and none of them are going to be in the Big Ten title game, neither of them have a chance at the college football playoff. When you're in November, the big games are prime time. Okay, like Illinois still has a chance at the college football playoff, even if it's slim. And for goodness sake, Illinois is ranked. Okay, Wisconsin, hello, you've been ranked this year. It's like you just got beat by 15 at home. Okay, like it's just baloney. But now I try to digress. So the Snoop,
it would be so ugly if Iowa, who finishes with UCLA, Maryland, and Nebraska, Nebraska at home, they go on the road to UCLA and Maryland. If Iowa somehow can find a way to 10-2 and sneak in that playoff,
Iowa's dude. I don't know if you know this or not. Iowa's already lost a third game. Michigan State beat them.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that. That's you're exactly right.
Michigan State slapped them around, man. They're fool's gold, dude. Oh well, they'll be 9-3 and still are laughable at 9-3 because you just got beat by 12 at Michigan State to a team whose quarterback is, what do they call him?
Captain Chaos.
Yeah, Captain Chaos, man. Wasn't even close. 12, and if Michigan State they settled for 7 field goals, I think, in that game, and still won by 12. All right, so Iowa. Negative +3 at home, and then
-3. They're favored.
Okay, -3 at home in this high scoring, high drama, super spectacular on prime time, and let's see what our boy Matt has here.
You notice I yawned. That was right on cue.
Perfect, so good, so good. And I don't have to be biased on this show because this isn't an Illini podcast per se, but it is a fans podcast about putting numbers down, and it just shouldn't be prime time. Matt's going half unit here. He's picking Iowa at home. He went back and forth on this one, but we'll back the home team in prime time. Both teams sitting at 5-3. Iowa is 18-1 in their last 19 November games. They'll be starting a new QB for this one in Brendan Sullivan.
Yeah,
the transfer from Northwestern. First start at Iowa makes me a little uneasy, but Iowa has a second leading rusher in the nation. Whiskey is 67th in the nation in run defense. Not bad, but not great either. This is going to be a bloodbath. I will take the better defense in Iowa City. He thinks it's going to be a bloodbath, huh?
Yeah, well, I think it means it's just going to be a very physical, ugly football game. Typical.
Our eyes bleeding, I think. Bloodbath. Yeah.
I'm taking Iowa. I'm going to take the home team here. This game's, they got a home team in prime time. I love the Dogs here, but I just think Wisconsin exposed themselves a little bit last week. I think obviously Iowa has a very good defense. They're at home. Give me the Hawks -2.5, right?
It says 3, but yeah, we can go with 2.5.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd take it at 3 too. I mean, if I push, I push. I don't care. I think Iowa's run game can control the game, and Wisconsin was my lock last week. I thought they were moving in the right direction, and Penn State kind of exposed them, especially in the second half.
So let's go to this is Pittsburgh at SMU. The game's in Dallas, right?
That's correct.
Okay. We literally just talked about SMU, and so they're going to be coming off of a just abysmal win, if you can have one of those. I will say Illinois against Purdue would be maybe a close one, but not even, because Illinois dominated the first half. I think the win probability probably at 27-3 with 20-some minutes left is probably pretty good. SMU, man, they were down and trailing at times, but got it back and tied it, and got down again and turned it over 6 times. So SMU knows that they're going to need a really good performance against a Pitt team that dominated at home against Syracuse, which is really surprising. I think they had 2 or 3 pick sixes off Kyle McCord.
3. I loved your lock last week, and I went to the window with it. I mean, that game was just you take those turnovers out of it. I mean, Syracuse out first down Pitt by 10. They outgained them by 110 yards. They had 41 minutes of possession, and lost the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those 3 pick.
They could not run the ball, and they couldn't run the ball at all against Pitt at all. And so this game is really interesting here. SMU has some quarterback issues. Pitt has some quarterback issues. I'm going, by the way, Iowa full unit on that one. Like I said, this week is a little bit messy here. So I like Pitt here, and I don't know why. I like it maybe because they could stop the run. SMU has some quarterback issues. Pitt has some quarterback issues. The challenge is that the SMU's quarterback issues have actually – both guys have played this year, but their offense was much more effective with the player who's supposedly hurt. I can never remember his name. I'm trying to look that up here. I just think that 7.5 is too big of a number. I think Pitt keeps us within a touchdown. I think SMU probably wins, but I'm gonna take Pitt to cover the number of 7.5 there. Oh yeah, might be going from Jennings to Stone, and Jennings is their second leading rusher, so it's definitely a dual threat quarterback there. Stone has played this year; he played some last year as well. So they're a little bit more solid at the quarterback position than Pitt. Pitt's backup did come in last week and played well. Pitt also has a couple extra days of preparation for this as they finish with Syracuse on Thursday at home there. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But you got Yarnell is the backup, a junior big kid from Austin, Texas. I think it'll be interesting to see if Holstein plays. But regardless, I like getting 7.5 points here, and what I think it's just too big of a number.
Matt's got Pitt taking them with obviously who's underdog here at 7.5. He's got Pitt covering that. He's got a half unit. Mm-hmm. The pick is based on both teams' starting QB availability, as both starting QBs were injured last week, and it's still not sure if both will play. Also injured is SMU's top wide receiver. This could be some gamesmanship here, but with both starting QBs up in the air, he'll take the points with Pitt. This is 7-0 versus 7-1. SMU has impressed in the ACC as they have won 3 straight road games, Duke, Louisville, and Stanford. Pitt's magical season continues with dismantling of Syracuse last week. We'll take the tougher overall team in the Pitt Panthers. The hook is too good to pass up here. So we're going to start with locks, Kev, and I'll read Matt's first, and then you delve in on yours, and I'm going to hone in on what I want to do. I might go back to the service academies this week. They always do me right, Kev.
Well, we can double up on it.
We might. Hey, I got a couple of people who are chuckling at me. I got a couple of coworkers. Rob, shout out. He'll be listening to this tomorrow when it's posted on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. He's like, I'm loving your service academy picks, dude. And I'm like, they're hitting because it's almost like it's like a lock, guarantee money, dude, when you're picking Army, I think. So Navy against Notre Dame last week was not that was not the play there. So anyway, Matt's lock. Here we go. North Carolina, 2.5 point favorite at Florida State. He's using 2.5 units on this. Is that a thing? Okay. It says 2.5 units. That's what it says.
Yeah, that's the lock. 2.5 units is our lock.
Okay. Sorry. I was just making sure I read that right. So 2.5 units. UNC coming off a 41-14 win at Virginia. Feeling good. FSU sitting at 1-7 and nothing to play for but pride. Their pride and season is shot. UNC at 4-4, still playing for a bowl bid, and probably Mac Brown. And I get under a field goal in Tallahassee. Give me the Tar Heels.
Yeah, and Matt's going to a well, right? And that's one of those things that, you do, right, as a bettor. And he's going against Florida State. I think Kent State's a good team to fade this time of year right now. I think Air Force is a great team to fade this weekend. And here's the reason why. Air Force is 1-6. It's a 22.5 point spread for the Army Black Knights, my guys. This game is going to be a mud stomping.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Air Force is in the hundreds in stopping the run. They are the second worst passing offense in the country. Who's behind them? Army, because Army has the number one rushing offense in the country at 360 yards a game. And if you're in the hundreds and can't stop the run, I don't care if they run the exact same offense you do. Army trucks this game. Give me Army like 38-3. I think Army rolls this one. I'm going back to the well, back to the academies here with my lock. There were some home dogs in prime time I do like, but I know I love going to those. But I love Army here. Stick with the Service Academy. Give them for me for a lock here, Ryan. And are you going to follow me for your cash money pick?
Oh, it's tempting. It's tempting. I'm scrolling around me some Conference USA action. We'll see. I'm looking.
Action, maybe fade Kent State there.
Yeah, I might. I'm looking. It's some temptation here. Temptation Island, if you will. Let's see here. Man, that's a good one.
There's only 2 MAC games this week, so you can't go there.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Follow me. To do just it's the show's called Fade the Deuce.
Yeah, you know what?
We're following.
Hold on. Just what did Sam McLaurin say? Fuck it, I'm going to Illinois.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Fuck it, I'm following Duce. I'm telling you, Army is Army's probably one. If people were betting on Army all year, you'd be winning a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say, like, if there's a team this year where you're like, if you want a sure thing to win some money, pick Army this year. And Army's making people money. Kev's been making money off them for a month probably now, if not more.
Yeah, and I think that there's a bit of people are looking at this as Service Academy on Service Academy. One of the things that
you saw what Navy did to Air Force.
Yeah, one of the things that I doubled up on that one. I hit a little Service Academy parlay to start my day a couple weeks ago. Here's one interesting one. Vanderbilt's catching 6.5 at Auburn, so you get points and the better team. That's an interesting one.
Tulane at Charlotte was one I was looking at.
One I really like this week. I think South Carolina wins. They get 2.5 against Texas A&M. Prime time, 8 p.m.
Are they home dog in prime time?
They are. They're getting 2.5 at home against A&M. I think we watched the South Carolina LSU game. We watched South Carolina Alabama game. Both games are at home. They should have beat LSU. They should have beat Alabama. That's one somebody could take a look at. I really like that game this week. So.
I've had another one for you guys, the Tulane Charlotte game.
Yeah.
Tulane's
pretty good.
Yeah, Tulane's pretty good. So that's one I'd take Tulane as well.
16.5 points. Now that's a home dog in prime time, but Charlotte's terrible.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm picking Tulane. They're an experienced, tough group. I think they're going to win by 20 plus. But yeah, so that's it, man. By the way, I know it's Fade the Deuce, but you think you got one more football article in you here as we wind down?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So be looking for that. Tomorrow night, Mike Farrell's X account, Outside the Gridiron, I'll be on there. We'll be previewing just straight up this week. We don't do money lines on it, and some other top stories as well throughout college football. I'll have another article here in the next day or two by Thursday morning for Mike Farrell Sports. Might do a little preview of the Penn State-Ohio State game and fit Illinois-Minnesota in there because I think those are the two top. I think Indiana-Michigan State's intriguing too. I might throw that in there.
Yeah.
So
Michigan State catching points at home.
Yeah, I think that's another intriguing one. Michigan State's tough in East Lansing.
Much better team at home.
And also is Rourke going to play?
Right.
So there's some.
Trayvon Jackson handled himself really well last week.
Yep, he did. But also at home, you're a little more comfortable.
The Jackson?
Yeah. Yep. That's Trey. That's Trey. That's
TJD's brother.
TJD's brother. Correct. Yep. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of Fade the Deuce.
Hey, Ryan, real quick, where can folks catch you to talk about Illinois, Minnesota? On someone else's pod.
Yes, you can. You can check it out on the SkiU pod at SKIUPOD on X. I just previewed that. You'll see it on my Twitter. I'll retweet it again for anybody that missed it. I had a nice 25-minute breakdown of, is Pat Bryant going to play? What are Illinois' strengths and weaknesses? What's their mindset coming into this weekend's game? How should Illinois attack Minnesota? And just a whole bunch of other fun. It was fun being in enemy territory, listening to them talk and the fans, all the Gopher fans picking the Gophers in the chat. It it was fun. So, but yeah, that'll do it. See you tomorrow night outside the gridiron. Swap me out.